Meet the Baochen BT150, 150cc, 124 kilos, 11 horsepower, and unavailable here in Europe, maybe because they don't meet EU emissions or safety standards, I really don't know. But Noraly Schoenmaker, also known as Itchy Boots, is currently having what looks like the adventure of a lifetime, crossing the tiny island of Socotra off the coast of Yemen in the Arabian Sea on a borrowed Baochen BT150 that doesn't exactly look factory fresh. And this got me thinking. See, a year ago I sold my perfectly adequate Honda Transalp 750 because I liked the idea of a little more power and a few more creature comforts. I had a dig at the little Honda GB350S in a couple of videos recently because its 21 horsepower made me feel vulnerable on the open road. And then I saw Noraly battling away across Socotra on an 11 horsepower bike that's literally been bubble wrapped to protect it. Okay, she might have 3 men shepherding her around the island in a Land Cruiser, possibly full of supplies, but she looks as though she's having a wonderful time, and I'm envious. Her Baochen, as I said, isn't available in Europe, but I did a little research, and in Africa, Asia and the Middle East, it can typically be bought brand new for an astonishing, to us Europeans, €500. A brand new motorcycle for €500. I've got a friend here in Portugal who has just paid literally 50 times that for his 2025 Ducati Multistrada V4S because his 2023 Desert X wasn't comfortable enough, although I'd better not badmouth him too much because he said he'll lend me his new Multistrada to test ride on the channel. And anyway, I'm no better. One of the reasons I went for a Tiger 900 was because it has a heated seat and the Transalp didn't. But 50 times the price of Noraly's little Baochen, it does give you pause for thought, doesn't it? So where's the sweet spot in the adventure bike world in 2025? Is there a sweet spot? Can you have one bike that does everything, or should you just resign yourself to having to own 3 or 4 different bikes? Do you even need an adventure bike to have an adventure? I'll be attempting to answer these questions in this video, and I'll be breaking down the market into 4 segments: minimalist bikes like Noraly's Baochen, small capacity machines like the Honda NX500, mid-range all-rounders like the Transalp or my Tiger 900, and then heavyweight mile munchers like the R1300GS to find out which class delivers the most real-world fun, enjoyment and satisfaction. Let's begin with minimalist bikes, and I suppose the Honda Trail 125 or CT 125 is the global benchmark here. I say global because it's been sold just about everywhere and just about everyone's seen one at some point. A throwback trail bike with just under 9.7 horsepower and 116 kilos wet weight. It's charming, simple and ideal for back roads and short range exploring. It features a centrifugal cut clutch, semi-auto 4-speed gearbox, 800mm seat height and basic front disc rear drum brakes. With minimal electronics, just fuel injection and a basic dash, it's almost maintenance free. Price around €4,000, though scarcity in Europe can push this up to 6 or 7,000 for grey imports. Forget heated grips or seats, traction control or anything resembling modern rider aids. What you get is a machine that's so light and forgiving that beginners feel at ease and veterans find it hilariously liberating. I rented one a few years ago in Japan, where it's available today for the equivalent of under €3,000. It's not fast, but what it lacks in pace, it makes up for in character. This is the kind of bike that transforms mundane errands into mini adventures. It was great fun around Osaka, but honestly, I wouldn't want to take it around the world. I know that people have, and it's fine once you're at your destination, but as with the GB350S, the lack of power would leave me feeling too exposed on faster roads between destinations. Fuel consumption, an astonishing 1.6 litres per 100 kilometres, over 140 UK MPG or 117 US, and its compact footprint and low weight means it can easily be loaded into or onto the back of a camper van. For off-grid camping, rural exploration, or simply rekindling the joy of slow travel, it is hard to beat, but sweet spot? I don't think so. It's just too pared back. Small capacity bikes step up a rung and things get a bit more interesting and a bit more real. This Royal Enfield Himalayan 450 leaps ahead of its predecessor in terms of performance and refinement, with 40 brake horsepower and 40 Newton meters from a 452cc liquid-cooled single. It has a wet weight of 196 kilos, too much Royal Enfield, a 21-inch front wheel, and a full suite of useful electronics, including a ride-by-wire throttle, 2 riding modes, and switchable ABS. There's even a built-in Google Maps-powered TFT screen, bringing it into the modern age. Fuel economy is around 3.2 litres per 100 kilometres, or 88 UK MPG, 73 US, giving it both long legs and low running costs. Honda's NX500, previously the CB500X, which I owned back in 2019, features a silky 471cc parallel twin with 47 horsepower and 43 Newton meters of torque. It's smooth, utterly reliable, and has been field tested on just about every continent. It weighs 196 kilos wet, with LED lights, traction control, and a very easy to read colour TFT dash. The 830mm seat height suits a wide range of riders, and fuel consumption sits around 3.5 litres per 100 kilometres, or 80 UK MPG, 67 US. Honda quality has begun to tail off a little over the last couple of years, as they lower prices in an attempt to keep up with the Chinese, but they still offer a decent warranty and an unrivaled dealer network. The NX500 doesn't try to dazzle with flair, but its composure and usability are second to none. It's the sensible choice. Fancy something a little more entertaining, better equipped and slightly left field? Among the current crop of small capacity bikes, I would probably go for the CF Moto 450 MT, or the Ibex 450 as it's known in North America. 44.5 brake horsepower, but it feels more. A 21-inch front wheel, adjustable KYB suspension, and tubeless spoked wheels. It's ready for the trail. It's the lightest of the trio at 175 kilos dry, and offers a TFT dash, smartphone connectivity, and an 820mm seat height that adjusts lower with a seat swap. Fuel economy sits around 3.7 litres per 100 kilometres, 76 UK MPG, 63 US. It's cheaper than the competition too, at around €6,500, and brings features that were once exclusive to £10,000 machines. These bikes aren't toys, they're capable machines that can go far and wide, from gravel switchbacks to rural detours. With modest weight, enough power, and just the right amount of tech, they provide real-world adventure without the drama or the cost of heavier machinery. If I were genuinely planning a cross-continent trip, I'd feel most confident on the NX500, just for that dealer network, but I'd have more fun on this CF Moto. So now on to mid-capacity bikes, which could well be the Goldilocks zone. The Honda Transalp 750 takes a 755cc parallel twin and extracts 91 horsepower and 75 Newton meters with a wet weight of 208 kilos and Shoei suspension. It balances plushness and control beautifully. Seat height is 850mm, and its TFT dash integrates smartphone connectivity again. Add in ride modes, traction control, and switchable ABS, and it becomes clear why this bike has been winning comparison tests left and right. Fuel is a thrifty 4.1 litres per 100 kilometres, 69 UK, 57 US. I ran this one in 2023, and this footage is from when I took it down to Gibraltar. It was good enough to convince me that adventure bikes were the way forward for me, so I sold it and my beloved Speed Twin 1200 for the Tiger a year later. Suzuki's V-Strom 800DE is a strong contender in the mid-size sector, with 84 horsepower and 78 Newton meters of torque, a 21-inch front wheel, long travel Shoei suspension, and a 20-litre tank. It's aimed at riders who like to keep going when the tarmac ends. At 230 kilos wet and with a seat height of 855mm, it is tall but not intimidating. It includes a gravel mode that disables rear ABS and a clean, legible TFT screen. Fuel economy comes in at around 4.3 litres per 100 kilometres, 66 UK MPG, 55 US. Good low-down torque makes it feel punchier than the Transalp, but I had to rule it out because the heat from the engine means it's a non-starter for me down here in southern Portugal. Sitting at the top of the mid-size segment, at least in terms of price, the Triumph Tiger 900 Rally Pro features an 888cc triple with 108 horsepower and 90 Nm of torque, and as regular viewers know, it's the bike I've been riding for the past year. It comes pretty much fully loaded, 6 riding modes, cornering ABS, cruise control, heated grips and seats, and on the GT variant, semi-active suspension. Weighing in at 228 kilos with a seat height adjustable between 850 and 870 millimeters, it is the most tech-laden of the mid-size trio. I average around 4.6 litres per 100 kilometers, 61 UK mpg, 51 US. The Tiger's triple engine remains one of the most engaging power plants in the class, with a broad torque curve and addictive exhaust note. I miss my Speed Twin sometimes, but in the 2 years I had it, I covered just 4,000 kilometers. I've done twice that in half the time on my Tiger. These mid-sizers are definitely easy bikes to live with. Long-time viewers will know that I used to chop and change bikes every few months, but since discovering these Swiss Army knives, I've slowed down considerably. These bikes will take you to work, over mountain passes, along motorways and onto forest trails. And indeed, that's kind of what I do. They're light enough to handle off-road, and heavy enough to feel solid on the motorway. Luggage options abound, and pillions won't complain either. Mrs. RM loves the Tiger. Expect pricing between around 10,000–11,000 euros for the Transalp, right up to 17,000 for this top-tier Tiger 900. But if you want one bike to do it all, I think this is where to look. So onto the large capacity adventure bikes, the Apex Predators. This BMW R1300GS is the latest iteration of the iconic Boxer Adventure series. 145 brake horsepower, a whopping 149 Newton meters, which provides immense pulling power in any gear and at seemingly any revs. So much so that you barely feel the 285 kilo curb weight, at least once you're on the move. In my recent review, I mentioned how the sales manager at BMW Faro asked me to get on the bike before he let me take it out, so he could make sure I was able to handle it physically. Now I'm 6'2", 1m87, 90 kilos, and once riding it, it does almost feel like sitting at a desk, such is the size of the tank and cockpit area. Adaptive suspension, radar cruise cornering ABS, TFT screen that looks like a laptop, all comes standard. The seat lowers electronically for easier mounting, and given the grunt of the engine, it does sip fuel at around 5.1 litres per 100 kilometers, 55 UK mpg, 45 US. Ducati's Multistrada V4 is the technological tour de force of the segment. The 1158cc V4 produces a whopping 170 brake horsepower, paired with Skyhook adaptive suspension, radar-assisted cruise, and blind spot detection, and a 30-litre tank. Fuel economy is still reasonable, 5.8 litres per 100 kilometers, 49 UK, 40 US. Long distance comfort is good, though not as good as the GS, and Ducati's cylinder deactivation helps manage heat in city traffic a bit. It's a serious contender for best long distance bike ever made, though you will pay dearly for it, as my friend just did. Not much change from 30,000 euros by the time you've added a couple of options. We're quite a way off Noraly's 500 euro Baochen. I rode a previous generation V4 a few years ago, and I'm hoping to ride Adrian's 2025 in a couple of weeks. The Triumph Tiger 1200 GT has more traditional lines, puts out 150 horsepower and 130 Newton meters of torque, and is, in my humble opinion, the most comfortable bike available today, Honda Goldwing included. It includes radar-assisted safety features, semi-active suspension, cruise control, and heated grips and seats. Fuel consumption hovers around 5.5 litres per 100 kilometres, 51 UK, 42 US, and like the GS Adventure, the 30-litre tank on the Explorer model delivers outstanding range. It's an extremely rapid bike, but I found the shaft drive could be a bit jerky, and the quick shifter, while much better than the one on the GS, wasn't as smooth as the one on my chain-driven Tiger 900. These mega machines offer a masterclass in long-distance comfort and road authority. They're built for two-up travel across continents, loaded with luggage in full comfort, but they come with compromises: cost, weight and complexity. Drop one and your lower back and your wallet are in for a pounding. Still, they have legions of fans for good reason. They're fast, capable, comfortable and versatile, and once you're on the move, you almost forget the costs. So, conclusion, is Noraly right? Well, each category has something to offer. Minimalist bikes like hers provide a distilled, almost nostalgic riding experience. Small capacity machines are impressively competent and financially accessible. Full-sized adventure bikes provide supreme capability and comfort at a cost. But for most riders in Europe, North America, Australia, where we have a mix of fast highways, twisty back roads and the occasional gravel track, I personally think the sweet spot in 2025 has to be somewhere in the mid-capacity adventure class. Starting at around 10,000 for a Transalp 750 or a Vosges DS900X, moving up to around 16,000–17,000 for a Tiger 900, you're roughly halfway between minimalist Baochen and overkill BMW. Mid-capacity bikes deliver usable power, legitimate off-road abilities, excellent touring comfort and cutting-edge tech, without the weight, price or complexity of the flagship models. They're just as happy commuting in city traffic as they are climbing hairpin mountain roads, cruising on the motorway or carving fire trails. I do genuinely envy Itchy Boots' fearless taste for adventure on the most Spartan of bikes, but I'm just too domesticated. Ultimately, the best bike is the one that gets used, and mid-capacity adventure bikes are designed to be ridden, not polished in your garage. I think they encourage exploration, enable spontaneity, and offer a near-perfect compromise between form and function. But everyone's different, of course. I'm sure many of you, and probably Itchy Boots, would disagree with me. Let me know in the comments, and as always, thanks for watching.